Lon, would you mind?
Sure. To bow our heads for a minute. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening and again give you thanks for all the safety that you've given our squadron and all of us. Just put your hand over us to keep us safe, Lord. We pray as we perform our mission for the country and our civil patrol duties. Lord, be with us this evening. Help us to learn something. Be with all the service members, their families. Protect them. Also, we pray. Amen.
Jerry. Well, hello everybody. Congratulations, Michael, for getting your FAA ticket for 699.
Thank you very much.
That's the biggest news for the night.
You had some part of it, did you?
Very little.
I was just a crazy one that
Yeah, you did the 2 hours of blood, sweat, and tears, right? So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
to work with him.
Anyway, so tonight we're going to go over the SARX that's coming up. And Jerry's going to direct that. Just make sure that you know that we got some dark nights coming up, and the Spaghetti Factory in Redlands is where we're going for our little Christmas get together. Redlands, you gonna be able to go?
I think so.
Okay, good. So make sure that we're there, and if you haven't told me by now, make sure I've got you on the RSVP list. So. All right. Terry, you want to
Are
take
we
it?
allowed to race any of that here?
What's that?
Can I use the board or not?
If you need to, yeah.
We keep the dates up there. Or rewrite them.
Yeah.
All right.
I have to send this out, so I'll just go ahead and send it out.
So we were approved today for our Group 3 SARX, which we're going to hold on November 20th and 21st here at K-Round. And so I'm hoping that we can get some planning done on that tonight and get some volunteers going on certain aspects of what we need to do. So, who here has been to a SARX before? Okay. You all just volunteered to do something. Who has not been to SARX before and is a member? You also just volunteered to do something. Who is not a member and has not been to a SARX? You actually don't have to do anything. Yeah. We need help is all that I'm getting to here. Oh, look at that. That's nice. So, 20 and 21, that's going to be a Saturday and Sunday. Ben, did we decide what the cost is going to be for each participant?
No, we didn't.
Is that just for food?
Just for food.
Typically, it's about $15 a day for food. Typically.
What food is it that we typically bring in?
Well, in the morning we'll have like a continental breakfast. We'll have like pastries and things like that. Then we'll actually send out for lunch, like maybe go to a place over here, the Italian place for lunch or something like that.
They'll bring it in, you mean?
Yeah.
Will you give them an ability to order this lunch in advance?
No, we actually usually have somebody come in and cater. Like maybe one of the members likes to cook, tri-tip or something like that. We'll have tri-tip sandwiches.
Is there anybody that wants to take this aspect of it on? Arranging the food?
Yeah, that's logistics.
Yeah.
Typically, logistics does that. And
so let's talk about this for a second. I'm going to tell you that number one, I don't like charging people from the SARX, but
you have to.
Or not feed them.
What's that?
Or not feed them.
Or not feed them, or you can bring your own lunch if you want to.
So my vote would be to, okay, you can charge the $25 or $15 a day, I guess.
$50 a day.
So let's go ahead and put it out at $15 a day. That seems reasonable. But let's just tell them in advance what it's going to be.
We'll have to figure out what we're doing.
It's going to be turkey sandwiches from such and such.
Okay.
If you don't like that, bring your own lunch. Okay, but we need to tell the menu. We're not opening this up to discussion. So we'll have we'll decide what that is, but decide, you know, tell people what it is, everybody, okay?
Sometimes we get a Subway, a big Subway sandwich
All
right
right,
up.
we don't need to go into all the details. How much lettuce should we put on it?
What's that?
A little more.
What are you trying to say, Trey?
I'm just saying, we're done with that. But I see what you're saying. But we need to figure out who's going to be logistics. Included in the logistics, what else is it in logistics that we need besides food?
Well, logistics typically does keeping the trash emptied, supplying the water.
Do we
making sure
have
water.
trash? Do we have trash bags and all that here?
We have some trash bags.
Do we have
yes.
toilet paper?
We have enough. I think we have enough toilet
Paper
paper, trash
towels.
bags, things like that,
Okay.
for one SRX.
Okay, so we don't need to put that down if we have it. What don't we have that they need to bring? Can we talk about vehicles for a second?
Yeah.
Um,
What kind of SRX are we having? I'm sorry.
Okay, so I guess we can talk about that here. So we're going to have 3 aircraft. One of those aircraft is going to be a hybrid. And 2 are going to be going out to the grids, okay? We're going to have a grid with an ELT 121.5.
121.775.
You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna have, a 406 grid, okay? And then we're going to have a simulated SAR and find, you know, a grid with a target in it, something that looks like an airplane.
Oops.
We want at least one ground crew in one of these grids, okay? I'm thinking probably this one here, because the ground crew is also gonna deliver the target out, so we'll set it up and all of that. So, we're gonna have to have a ground crew here. And then we'll have the hybrid over this segment here, okay? So, this here is pretty self-explanatory, right? We'll have a grid out there with the 121 decimal practice beacon. Just a reminder, what is the difference between a 121.5 and a 406 beacon? Anybody tell me with any of the training you had?
Digital analog.
Huh?
Digital analog.
Digital and analog, that's one. One's line of sight, right? One's satellite. This is really the new technology that's out there that all the aircraft are required to have now. Right?
We don't have a way
fly.
to track that on the ground.
Huh?
We don't have a way to track that on the ground on the 406.
So, actually, within a 406, there is also a very weak signal of 121.5 as you get closer to that 406. In years past, prior to this technology being here, 121.5 guard, that's what airliners are flying across, there's satellites that pick it up, okay? Everybody broadcasted 121.5, and the signal strength of that was how much? How many? What was the signal strength coming off of 125?
A small 121.5 usually has about a 1 watt transmitter.
1 watt. Now what is it on a 406? A quarter watt maybe?
Yeah, it's
Not much.
quarter watt, 6/10 of a watt.
You can hear these a long way off. Translate it, you can hear these a long way off. And the 121.5 and this 406 you can't hear a long way off, okay? Predominantly, this is what's out there in aircraft now, okay? But we need to practice honing in both because this has both the 406 and the 125 off plan. So this is a signal that comes up in a cone, okay? And we use our DF equipment in the aircraft to direction find that, okay, at different altitudes. This here is a signal that pulses every, can anybody tell me what it is, about every 45 seconds?
Every 50 seconds.
About every 50 seconds, there's a pulse. And so it's just a much different way of DFing something because you gotta set the squelch differently on it. It's different training altogether, which is why we separated it out. But every 50 seconds you'll get this pulse. You'll get the balls bouncing in the direction of that signal. When you get closer to the signal, okay, you'll start picking up the audible 121.5. Okay, and then you DF it just like anything else. So we're gonna have one grid like this, one grid here, And then we're gonna have a grid where you know that there's a aircraft located in that grid, and we're gonna search it and find it. Now, what are you gonna do when you find it? Ground team will be there in the vicinity, okay? And then you'll loiter over the area and direct the ground team, which this is something that's pretty common that we do. So, they'll know, of course, where it is, they sat it there, okay? That's not the point. The point is, what is the communication technique, and can you say, you know, over there, can you say, you know, proceed straight ahead, maybe left at the first road that you see, follow that, okay, continue until, you know, that kind of stuff. And then we'll be using HiBird for some of those communications from the ground team back over to us and mission base and so on. Because HiBird will be a line of sight communication for the ground team and us back to mission base. Does that make sense? HiBird, think of it as a repeater on the top of the mountain, and it's flying around. Why are we doing this? It gives some people that are not mission pilots the opportunity to fly also, okay? And also practice real world. So there'll be a repeater inside the HiBird. And then, so this is probably all of our communications in this grid are gonna be, you know, the HiBird. So that's kind of the scenario there, okay? We have 3 aircraft. I'm gonna imagine that we're gonna try to launch 4 sorties each day with each aircraft. Okay, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. So that's 8, that's 16. It's very ambitious.
It's very ambitious.
We'll see if we get there. Okay. But
Typically, it's
we need a
only-
ground crew, we need a vehicle. Do we have our vehicle here?
No, John Stokes was issued that one.
Okay, so we need a vehicle, right? John Stokes is going to be here as the IC, so I'm thinking that we can use that, right?
And then we could go get Flavov's van if we need it.
Actually, maybe that's even a better idea.
Well, we'll get it anyway, because it's close.
Okay. And the Flavov van?
Yeah.
Alright.
Unless you need more.
I really, you know, the only place we're gonna launch a ground team is out here to this, this area here, not too far from here, in Matthews area. We're right this
I
way.
apologize I was late, we're not talking about the mission out in, Whiteman?
No,
We're
Is there a
talking
mission
about
out there right
exercise Here?
no, the mission will be the 6th and 7th, or excuse me, only the 6th now at Whiteman. This is our SARX here on a different date set. It's the 20th and 21st.
Okay, I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, you were late.
Okay.
Well, it hasn't been broadcast, it'll be broadcast later tonight, right?
Should be.
So there'll be a sign up that comes out, and it'll ask you in what area you wanna participate in the mission, okay? If you're, whatever area that you want to train in, put that down, okay? We should have, like I said, we're gonna try to fly 8 sorties a day, and 16 over the weekend. Of course, this is all dependent on weather.
Yeah, you're, typically we only get 2 sorties per plane a day.
Well, if we can run this well enough, okay, we'll talk about an hour sortie. You know, if we had an hour sortie, I think we could turn it around in an hour. So, like, really the key here is, that you guys will find when you come to this mission base, is if we're not organized, nothing's gonna happen. Okay, just why we're gonna try to plan this. Where, we'll talk about that in a second, on logistics, but if we can launch, let's just say, at 9 o'clock an aircraft, recover it by 10, and then, return another aircraft out there by 11 to 12.
Might be able to get 3 sorties a day.
So we'll talk about it more, you and I can talk about that.
Aren't we getting dark early right now? I mean, just a question.
We're losing an hour this Sunday.
5 o'clock, it'll be 5 o'clock, I mean, I don't.
And then we're daylight savings time going away this Sunday?
This Sunday,
That's what you're saying?
So by December 7th, sunset will be at 4:30 or earlier.
Well, this is November 20th, so just 2 weeks.
So you're about 4:45 right now. 4:50.
We'll see. But we've got $4,300 that we need to spend on this SARX, and we gotta organize it so that people can be turning around. What does organizing mean? Organizing means that there is an easy roadmap for people to get here, that they know what they need to do, okay? So we gotta make it simple. You show up, you're gonna check in to SRX, right? You need somebody up there as part of the logistics, so we need easy check-in. What is required with check-in these days, Ben? You actually have to have your physical documents on you, or can you look up on winners, e-services?
Usually it's looked up in Wimmers, but they should bring it with them.
Okay.
It's quicker if they have it with them.
Yeah.
So this needs to go out in some communication that make sure to bring your credentials. Make sure to bring food if you don't like what we're selling.
What do you think about checking a half hour earlier than normal?
We haven't even talked about what time we're starting, but typically 7 o'clock would be a good check-in time.
We
Pretty
open the
early.
base at 7.
Yeah.
We typically have our briefing at 8, and then we start getting people out by 9.
So let's go ahead.
Remember, we gotta brief the air crews,
Yeah. So
and then they gotta get
and part of that,
organized and
we
get
have to do aircraft inspections.
out. Aircraft inspections are not required at SRXs. Those are things that we don't do anymore.
They used to do it though, right?
We used to do it.
Alright, so 7 o'clock, if we said 7 o'clock, and if we said 8 o'clock was the briefing, and we said 0900 for the first launch, I know this is being aggressive, 1100 for second, 1330, and then
You might wanna put an extra half an hour in there for any kind of fuel and then.
yeah, we may not, I don't know. It's really gonna be aggressive, I gotta think about that. Probably
Well,
not
you and I
possible.
should talk
Yeah,
offline
we'll figure
about
it out.
that.
It's going to be open for several weeks afterwards. I wanted to make that clear. So we're going to be able to get a lot of people flying here. Yeah, and you've got to be getting close to signing up if you haven't already. Okay. And
Talking with Michael later.
do you have your paperwork in yet, or are you close?
Paperwork is in, I believe there's some type of correction you have to do.
Yeah,
on it,
there's a
but
correction that
before
we gotta make, but as soon as we make that correction, it should go right through.
I'd love to be there in time, but I have drill that week.
That's fine. That's fine. I only just wanted to make the point that since your paperwork is going to be getting in, you're going to be getting access to e-services, both of you. We can get you started on mission scanner training, okay? So that as long as you have your fan prep authorized by the squadron commander, and you might write this down, if you have your aircraft ground handling done, which is a video that you watch online, you have your CAP membership card and a uniform, you can fly in a CAP aircraft. And as long as you got this training started just by having him say it's okay, we can get you flying.
Actually, I already have insurance on already.
And that's sorry. Mike, are you gonna be AOBD in this?
I don't know yet.
I don't have any.
I just heard about it tonight.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Go on there. Okay. What we
Well, I'm
need
not
is
sure
AOBD.
what position I'm going to need to be.
Okay. So what are the various positions that we need to fill? We've already filled them. Ben, who have we gotten commitments from on?
We haven't gotten any
Comms?
commitments from anybody.
No, okay.
We haven't asked for anything.
Okay. Well, I thought in our ops plan we had to have an idea.
We haven't, no. On our ops line, we didn't have an IC.
Okay.
That's what we
So-
have.
Okay, so we got IC, we got Stokes.
You need an ops section chief,
You need calm.
you need a planning section chief,
Comm unit leader.
you need a CUL, comm unit leader,
Is that the same thing as comm guy?
comm
No.
guy.
Well,
You need an AOBD,
ALBD?
Logistics section chief.
We need a, mission
Are
safety
you sure
officer.
we need all this for such a simple SRX? We need all
Yeah.
these positions?
Yes.
Logistics sec, I believe Ben.
What's that?
When I said yes, he believed me.
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm
I think you can just take over the squad.
misspelling that.
Carry a lot of weight then.
Rejection, okay. What are we
Mission-
missing? Ops, planning, communications, AOBD, logistics?
Mission safety officer.
Ground team leader, safety officer.
Okay, anything else? That's plenty.
Let me check my little list and see what.
Alright, so we've got our IC. Which would you rather do? AOBD? I'd rather you be an AOBD. with comms.
Well, I don't wanna do comms, no.
Okay. You wanna do AOBD?
There's a chance it's ops section chief or AOBD.
What is the duty of operations section chief?
The operations section chief watches over the AOBD and the ground team leader to make sure everything's going correctly.
Why don't you be the section chief?
He's the guy in charge of everything.
Planning section, Mike Swift.
No.
No, I don't wanna do planning section, that's
Oh,
that's
ops,
Ben's,
I'm sorry.
that's Ben's job.
I'm sorry, hold on.
You can tentatively put me for planning.
Okay, and what is going to be your role then?
My role is to form crews, form ground teams.
So out of
Right.
everybody that funnels in from this, I wanna participate, you'll put those crews together.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright,
Who inputs the sortie numbers?
Sir?
Who inputs the sortie? Is that
That's
that could be
can be planning, can be ops,
It can be
or
AOBD,
BD.
it can be ops, or it can be planning.
communications leader, does somebody wanna call, and who's somebody that's interested in that, Slappy,
No.
No,
No?
David.
See, I've been training for him to be a call,
Okay.
but I am not.
okay,
I can be a communications person.
Are you at least a trainee for CUL?
Yes.
Okay.
can you do that, or does it have to be overseen by,
It has to be supervised technically, but doesn't have to be.
To be honest, I'm not ready
okay,
for the call.
who's somebody that's interested in that?
Exactly what is.
Communications, the guy on the radio, the radio.
The guy that
You got to put in
runs-
a communication plan. That's the part I don't know how to do, but that's part of what the call person does. He's in charge, and he supervises the communications. I've been in comm
Radio
helping
operator.
out, right? But just as a radio operator. So occasionally I help out in the radio room.
You had mentioned you had a name on the tip of your tongue, was there somebody you were thinking of, Ben?
No, me no.
Juan, why don't you do the CUL trainee,
Okay.
and then I can watch over you as the
Okay,
CUL trainee.
I like that idea. You can wear a couple of different hats here.
Well,
AOBD,
fortunately, we're gonna all have to wear more than one hat.
right, AOBD,
Do we break it out, AOBD?
Yeah, air ops.
Air Ops branch director.
keeping track of the airplanes, doing all the briefings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
The briefs and debriefs.
If you aren't already at least an AOB trainee, you're not going to be able to do it by the.
Okay,
Right
so
on.
we have a hole there, right? We got a hole here, outside the squadron's gonna have to fill, logistics section chief.
logistics takes care of food and facility. You know, come in, turn the lights on, make sure the water works, make sure the coffee pots are all ready to go, make sure we have coffee and cups and sugar, and make sure we have trash cans and empty the trash during the day when they get full.
Mike, you're gonna be busy that day.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
I can help Mike with that.
We can all,
Usually-
No.
I'm gonna put you down, but I'm gonna help you with that as well.
Usually when I do that, I only do that job, I don't do all the
It
rest
is-
of it
it
as
is-
well.
Yeah.
I can't
It
do
is
all.
it is a full time job as well as ops section chief. They should not be
Okay,
combined at all.
alright.
Thank you, Ben.
Can someone who's a trainee do this?
What, lots, logistics?
Yes, if
So-
they have it supervised.
Let's just say that we have a hole here, okay? We'll just say we have a hole. Our mission safety officer, Bob, are you interested in participating in this at all?
What date is this gonna be on?
Saturday and Sunday, 20 and 21 November.
It's gonna be tough on that Saturday. I got a meeting.
Okay,
You know, I'm looking forward to helping out. If you find something that's conducive to my, right now, I'm an AMP, I don't know whether that fits in there in any way.
the biggest stumbling block for you right now is you don't have a membership card.
Right.
You can't be here because you're not Whitney insured. That's,
Am I gonna have that by
He
then?
should have it by then.
if you're there, you're gonna be what's called an MSA.
Yeah,
right?
he's already, MSA would be perfect for him, but
Well, check with Roger.
he's already
see if
submitted
Roger's
his paperwork. I gotta talk to, he's got a problem, we forgot.
All right,
As soon as
so
we solve
say
that, we
what
should be in.
mission staff assistant, I believe that's what it's called.
MSA, yes.
Okay, so basically, you're going to be here and helping out in any way you can, and that's what, and learning, and that's the biggest thing, learning.
I think Roger was checked out. He just got checked out.
Roger is a mission safety officer, and if he can
Would
be
he
here,
be
that'd
interested,
great.
or,
Well, he should. He has to just get in touch with him. He's not gonna be here this evening.
He's not here, let's volunteer him.
let me, put his initials down there and hold the space.
Yeah, good idea.
What is SO again?
It should be, oh,
It's supposed to be,
What's
it's supposed to be
MSO?
MSO, mission safety.
yeah, you
officer.
already have it.
Is that
Mission,
duplicate?
yeah, it's
Okay, so are these all the positions right here?
other than MROs and MSAs, I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, check real quick and see what else.
MRO is a mission radio operator, which is
Right.
somebody that has,
Who's the individual? I can't think of his name who goes out to the squadrons that go standby for ELT missions. What's his name? I'm gonna
Lambo?
put him. Yeah, he's qualified for the radio.
well,
Who,
we're gonna
Mark
put this
Wheeler?
out.
Mark Wheeler.
Yeah, we're gonna put all
Yeah, I
this
don't
out.
think Mark Wheeler will come.
We're gonna put out need for MROs.
I actually talked to Mark. He's not going to be.
Okay.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think he'll come for this.
Well, is it, how many do we need? I'm gonna be one of those
Well,
MROs.
You've worked missions before.
Well, if you're-
You've been in the radio room, how many do you think you need? Because now you're the CUL, you're in charge, you need to get help, MROs. How many do you need?
Well, we're gonna have 3 planes up at one time, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna have ground crew out,
At ground crew.
So-
Probably 2 then.
Are you gonna
probably
have?
2 MROs, okay, so we need 2 MROs.
Oh, ground branch director.
Yeah, he should have that.
Where was this?
Well, apparently he missed it.
Yep.
You're right.
So that's a
So how
gap,
many
right?
people? How many people on that list will be flying?
None.
None of these people will be flying.
Okay, then who are gonna be the pilots and the scanners and those
These are
flying
the
aircraft?
people
Will
that
it
are
be
being
from other?
Signing up. We're sending out an email
Okay, I
broadcast.
just wanna
Yeah,
clarify.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, we're running the mission.
What I'm trying to figure out is what
Mission.
gaps do we, what can we not fill from the people in this room or the people in our squadron? After that, then we know what the gaps are. So we need a GBD, a full AOBD, we need some MROs and MSAs, right? I'll develop all of this, okay? All this will be on me, what the grids are, what the records will be, all of that, so. That's easy enough, that's nothing. So it's really just coming up with this, we don't have the worry about doing the inspections on the aircraft, which would take forever, right?
It usually doesn't take too long, but.
Terry,
What about
the
your-
experience
take a
from
half
the
hour.
last SARX that we
Yes.
had here,
Yeah.
you're right, it's very, very aggressive to have 4 fights a day. It's because what was happening real time is that debriefing thing, everything was getting slowed down. So it just takes a long time to get that briefing and all that stuff.
You'd be very lucky to have a sortie in the morning and a sortie in the afternoon for each aircraft. Remember, we gotta give our pilots time for lunch and bathroom breaks.
It all depends how many people sign up as pilots and want to be.
I think we'll get
Trainees.
a lot of, I think we'll get a lot of,
This is group 3, right?
those signups. I mean, we got quite a few, we got 38 people.
Now,
We
think-
have
got
a
to-
lot of signups, and I'll tell you why, because there's no money out there for anybody to fly. There's no money, there's no missions open, so people haven't flown essentially since August. We're gonna have a bunch of people wanting to fly here.
Okay,
That's
we
what I
are
meant.
opening it up to other groups, right?
No, not yet.
At first, no.
At first,
Okay.
no. We're gonna send this out to group 3 initially and wait about 8-9 days, okay? At that point, we'll see where we have,
Yeah.
and then we'll reevaluate, we'll send it out to other groups. I do wanna be friendly to some of the closer groups here, like group 7.
Well, we're not going to have.
We're not gonna have a whole lot of days.
No, I know, but
So,
we're not going to have a whole lot of time to recruit our trainers that we need to be. If we're limiting
Well-
it to group 3.
Okay, but if you're saying that we may not get everybody that we need in our group 3 call,
I'm thinking that we're not going to get enough. Well, we need mission pilot standards. They're evaluators. Do we have enough of those?
really, this is really not a mission pilot training.
Okay.
We need 2 mission pilots at minimum to fly twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday each.
Okay, so we need a.
This is really a training for the air crew to get comfortable with communication, all the things that we've kind of lost all of our skill on. How to track an ELT, both the 406 and the 121.5, how to communicate with the ground team, how to use the radios. That's really what this mission is about.
So our mission pilots are
We have
going
enough mission pilots, I think. We'll see.
to. Okay.
When the call goes out, we'll see. If we need to open up another group earlier, we will. I'm not opposed to that. I just want to make sure that whoever in group 3 wants to participate has the chance first before slots are filled up. Because if you come back and you say, as planning section chief, we don't need any more A, B, or C, but then we put it all out there at once and everybody, you know what I'm saying? If people didn't get a chance to respond to group 3 but wanted to fly,
we have to put it out for people that wanna sign up and do it.
I want to put it out for group 3. We're going to put it out for group 3 only
Mm-hmm.
for a week, and then we'll evaluate.
We're only 2 weeks out.
3 weeks out,
2.5 weeks.
18 days.
Right here,
Harry, I
Yeah.
can do it probably Saturday afternoon after 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And can
I
do
think
s-
we'll
and I can
find
do
out very
Sunday.
quickly, Ben. I mean, honestly, it may take like a day before we know. Okay, yeah, we need to put this out.
Okay, I have a question. You have mission pilots ready to go to do this for each of the planes.
I have 2 that would be willing to do it for the entire weekend.
Okay.
Who's that?
Me and Roy Knight.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have the basic minimum of what we need to fly. I don't want to do it, believe me. I'd rather, like guys like Mo and Jim Hot Toys out of Palm Springs and Nick and whoever else, Travis Carney. I just don't know where some of these guys are with the 491. If we need to open it up, I think Group 7 is close enough that they, I want to be friendly to them. They let us fly quite a bit with them. So,
Okay. And we're gonna.
probably pick up the phone and call some of those guys when I'm telling you.
Okay, so then you're gonna be able to get planes for us too.
Working on that.
Okay.
I have 2 airplanes right now. We have the airplane out of Montgomery, it's a 182 glass cockpit, and then we've got our airplane, of course. Interestingly enough, 487, the Palm Springs bird, and the Fullerton bird are both going Imperial that weekend. They're not available. Then
Don't call in 437.
yeah, 437s, that's a long way. That's a whole other discussion. So yeah, so we've got 2, we need 3. We'll get a 3rd.
Ben, before you send out the sign-up sheet, can you and I go over
Mm-hmm.
fields that you're going to?
That's
include?
very good, yeah. Why don't you do that? 'Cause
I-
I'm not even sure really.
I have my sign up sheet that I have already designed. If you want to come look at it.
I'll look at it tonight.
Are you doing
Before you
that
go.
in Google Docs survey
Nope.
format?
I am not.
Okay. You might want to help him with that. That's,
I don't know how to go do Google Docs, but I'm sure he does.
I'm using Teams or Microsoft Forms.
That's
I'll let you guys
similar.
handle it.
Yeah. But I want to make sure the fields are good because a couple of SARXs I've been to, they've forgotten the simple thing like
crew weight.
Yeah, I was gonna do that as a supplemental. So,
Yeah, I'd like to know how every one of the crew members, how much they weigh, and
I was gonna send that out as a
with their
supplemental.
flight bag with them. Things like that.
Yeah.
But I'll just go over it real quick with you. It's just,
Okay. Mike, have you been doing any training at all with Ventura Cinema? Okay, I need to ask you guys to be persistent with these instructor pilots, okay? I've asked them, I guess Trent really is the guy, but I've asked Trent to make it a priority to fly, okay, with those people in the green list. The green list is, you're very close to being a Form 5, okay? You're on that list. You're on that list, Billy. You're on that list, Emily.
I'll
So,
make it a goal to get at least be on the fly hybrid.
if you have your Form 5, by the time the SARX occurs, you can fly hybrid. So,
that's,
I'll make that my
you
goal.
only have to be a transport mission pilot to fly hybrid.
now, one of the other things to preclude you from doing that if you're not G1000, but I may get the steam gauge 182 out of Santa Ana. Go ahead.
How long does it take to get the Form 5 scheduled?
I'm sorry.
If you were ready and you had all of your paperwork done, you could call a check pilot, and if they were available tomorrow, you could fly tomorrow. So there's no answer for that other than first availability.
There's a
Right.
administrational delay that Wing has to sign it off also. So that may take overnight or a couple hours. It
That
could take
is
a day.
true.
That it's
Yeah, but we can expedite that.
yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, that brings up a good point. So,
If we need to, we can expedite it. We try not to.
But Terry, the goal of this mission is to refamiliarize mission pilots and observers with the techniques of the ELT search.
it is to get people that are not pilots, that have not flown since COVID started, observers, scanners, communication people, back in the game. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. It was very obvious from the last SARX. People don't know how to turn the radio on. They don't know how to use the vector. They don't know how to use a direction finder. They don't know what to say on the radio. Pilots were rusty, but we've been flying, haven't we? I mean, so we don't have enough airplanes. This isn't about flying. It really is not about getting pilots trained. Anybody that wants to fly in this as a mission pilot, come out and fly. We're gonna have some hours for you to fly, but we really want to get. We're starting it basically. You heard the expression crawl, walk, run. This is kind of like to get everybody back in the business of what we do the most in terms of emergency services. The most common mission that we have is an ELT mission. But you're absolutely useless to Civil Air Patrol if you can't work the radio, you don't know how to run the vector.
Yeah. I guess my point is that I'm going to step aside from flying because there's a lot of you others that need to at least do it once. I've done it quite a bit.
Oh, for flying as aircrew?
Yeah, as an observer.
Well, if you're rusty, I mean, it's open to everybody. I mean, get back in there and do it. I mean, there's nothing like actually operating the equipment. So, I mean, don't feel like that's the case. No. It's really open to everybody that sits right seat, left seat, back seat, okay, to get back in the game, in the swing of things. That's kind of the edict from John Stokes on this whole thing. He recognizes that we've all become remedial. And why have? I mean, it's like when some of this equipment you haven't looked at in 2 years, why would you remember it? So if you're not using it every day. So that would be the goal, to get as many people as we can through these seats. And over the next 2 weeks after these 2 dates, we're going to have monies left over to continue flying it, okay? I would also say that for guys that are pilots who are just brand new members, even sitting back seat on some of these sorties, you're going to have to do that anyway to become a mission scanner, to sit in the back seat just to watch the flow of the checklist and learn the airplane from that standpoint, and then also learn the CMP isms in there. So it'll be valuable for everybody. But our second our second SARX, I believe, is going to be centered around aerial photography and Waldo. And then our third, I can't remember if I don't have it written down, but the last one that we have of the year is going to be a mission pilot training SARX, where we're trying to get guys signed off on mission pilot. Okay, so that should give us a nice timeline between now and the end of the year, about a year from now, to get people in and flying, get them accustomed to missions, get them training in mission pilot, and then get them checked out by beginning next year. Of course, there's no timeline that says you can't get it done sooner. So I'm here. I can train anybody that wants to be trained with mission pilot. The only downfall is that I can't give you a check ride. Okay, so you have to go outside the squadron for that. But it's hard to find somebody outside the squadron that's going to be to train you. So it's probably easier to have me train you and go one day outside the squadron and get a check ride. All right, so obviously this does not start on Friday, as some SARXs do. So the way I see it, Mike, is we'll have probably a bunch of discussions on the side here in terms of getting
Yeah, you and I are gonna talk quite a bit.
the facilities, getting them ready for everybody, and then like I said, I'm going to handle all the actual what the grid assignments are going to be, what the scenario is going to be, and then it looks like I'm surprised we have this few gaps, but only 3 gaps really, Ben, in terms of
Well,
people.
your ground branch director is going to be a big gap to
Is it?
fill, especially since they have the exercise in San Diego the same weekend.
Well, the other,
Ooh.
improvise, adapt, overcome. Have you ever heard of that one before? We may just have to X out the ground team members. Okay? You don't need a ground branch director if you don't have ground team members. So
Hey, talking about down south, they were expecting to use Zelda back for that thing.
on November 20th.
Well,
I would suggest
if
for
they're
us to
having an
secure the
exercise
aircraft
down
right
there,
away.
Tom talked to me a couple weeks ago about getting Zelda back, and I told him I don't know when until 437 gets fixed. We got to keep it. But he at least let me know that they needed it for a mission or a SARX or something.
Yeah, I don't know when that SARX is. I know that there was some kind of a bivouac or something like that. With cadets
That's it.
they wanted to use an aircraft for, but that was Cap 499. Let's not worry about those details. I'll handle that as DO here. I'll talk to them and we'll figure it out.
Let's say schedule it tonight.
Part of the issue here is this is now November 2nd. We submitted this paperwork on not November 2nd, and not a day ago, but we're only getting approval like today. Okay.
We usually
So I can't really, it's tough. I know it's a burden on all of us to go out in the aircraft to get all these unit leaders and stuff like that, but these are the cards we were dealt. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make this thing a success. We're going to fly this little thing. So if I've got to X out ground team, I'm going to do that. If I get to X out a hybrid because we only have 2 aircraft, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to try like hell to fly 3 sorties in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. But anyway, like I said, we'll just try to play the cards we're dealt and see what we can do. But I'm surprised with the holes here. There's not that many. Hopefully you guys have your membership cards ready by then and can participate. I know that Emma, you're going to be here, and there's nothing to say that you can't be on as mission staff assistant and also fly, by the way. So we'll get anybody who's going to be here from our squadron. We're going to get you flying. Okay. So here's the fair warning. It's going to be a sign-up sheet that goes out. It's going to go out. When is it going to go out?
It should be tonight.
Tonight. Look at your CAP email. If you want to come, sign up. Okay. So, I think that's probably all the detail I need to cover here. I wanted to talk about the airplane, 437 for a second, Mom.
Summary is Kevin said that he has heard nothing back from National/Wing on the way forward. So we're waiting on a decision to be made on whether they're going to replace the whole engine or piecemeal it together again.
So, if you look through the pilot operating handbook or pilot information manual, whatever the PDF is, okay, however I call it, somebody's going to correct me, but does anybody know what I'm talking about? That PDF is like 400 pages on the various models of the stationary, turbo stationary. In there, it says in more than one spot, for the first 50 hours of flight time, for any cylinder change, or an engine change, that the aircraft should be flown as much as possible at 75% power. There's not a mission that we fly that we use 75% power on, other than going from here to Redwood City, okay, for a transit, whatever. 75% power is full, maximum continuous power. You can't fly that at Imperial. Can't fly that on Cadets, I mean, right? Flying along 150 knots everywhere over Lake Matthews. So, part of what we have to do, what we have to, I guess, argue for is, I don't know, at least 10 hours of engine break-in time or something like that.
Well, let me.
Is there anything? Yeah.
I don't know if you've read the service instruction that I sent on out for like homing engines.
Yeah.
But basically, it says after that repair, cylinder replacement, whatever, 2 hours of a flight. So you go up and you do 2 hours, and there's some criteria that you should set your power to and land, and then you do it again. So there's 4 hours, so I'm quite certain that I could convince Gary to fund 4 hours of flying. Hopefully I'm going to be part of that, but 4 hours of flying to break that cylinder in before anything else.
Yeah, it has to be done. Obviously, this is why the rings weren't seated. It's just why. I mean, that's why we're looking at replacing all 6 cylinders, right?
At least 3 of them, so.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I read in there. 50 hours. It says 50 hours at as much as possible at 75%. Well, that's 30 inches of manifold pressure and 2,400 RPMs. That's maximum continuous power at almost any altitude. So anyway, we gotta really think about that. So also we need to really have the same pilot fly that, to be very honest with you. Okay, my technique's different than your technique. It's just different than this person's technique or whatever. Whatever the guy's technique is, it better be by the book, right? And consistent. So anyway, so that brings a whole other set of issues into play, you know, in terms of getting you guys checked out in the airplane. Because, and Ben, I'm going to defer to you on this. Is there a G1000 ground school that someone has to attend now for G1000 checkout?
I don't know.
Yes?
Yeah.
Is the answer yes?
Yes.
Oh, thought it might be yes. So I don't know if that can be replaced by a ground school or not. You know, like an in-person ground school. That's the question that I have, because there's an online course, right, in learning management for G1000, but
And access, yeah.
I'm trying to get, well, we're just going to have to find out, because the best way to get you guys checked out would be have a weekend here where we have 2 turbo aircraft, 2 or 3 instructors, and a ground class on both turbo transition and also G1000, and get her done.
I would say use the simulator. I've done that for a couple weeks now. There's a bug in that thing, Mike. I was gonna refresh myself on flight planning and putting in, fields and making flight plan. Well, as soon as you try that, it airs out. So there's some kind of bug. I can show you another time or talk to you later. But that thing is good to sit there and familiarize or the G1000.
Well, that's why we have it. It's not going anywhere for a while, so hopefully, it'll be the tool we intended. So we'll have to have our computer guy look at that and see if there's any issues with it. Who here plans on being here at the SARX on the 20th? Okay, good. Sure.
Nice.
Let's talk about uniforms for a second, okay? If you wear an Air Force uniform, it had better be perfectly worn, okay? You better be the grooming standard, your shaving, haircuts. Don't have to worry about somebody else being an asshole to you. I'll be that asshole on the tight leave, okay? So, don't make me do that to you. Don't make me embarrass you for somebody else. And don't disrespect the Air Force uniform by wearing it inappropriately. That's first and foremost. Secondly, if you're wearing a CAP corporate uniform, there are no grooming standards you have to attend to with that, right?
This is appropriate.
I mean, that's basically what I've seen over the years. So.
Yep, you can have long hair, a beard.
Yeah.
Don't have to shave.
Make sure it has a CAP emblem on it. And, let's see. Does anybody here have a flight suit, by the way, that they wear? I can't even tell you last time I've worn one.
Last month.
Huh?
Last month.
Did I wear one last month?
Yeah.
No, once.
You was green, though, right? Was it green?
I must have shaved, but my daughter cries every time I come home and I'm shaved. So.
Mine is navy blue.
There's actually some truth to that. She's 21, she's still is so scared of me. It's more she's scared than anything else. No beard on, but anyway.
Quit shaving for him on you. Think you're Santa Claus.
All right, so uniforms.
Would I have access to uniforms for them? I assume we'll be finished
Oh,
with
yeah.
this by then, so.
So Vanguard
Well,
is.
you can order a blue polo and buy
Yeah,
some
you can
white
already do
slacks.
that. If you go to
You can
Vanguard.
do that now. We'll let you.
VanguardMill.com.
VanguardMill.com.
Can go.
So let me you guys take you the folks of you that have not been to a SARX before, what basically will happen, okay? So if you drive here, you'll want to park outside of the gate, okay, and walk in, because there'll be nowhere really place to park. We'll talk about aircraft parking offline, but starting that. You'll come in, you'll be in an appropriate uniform, the store will be open back here, and there'll be a check-in desk, at which point you provide your credentials to the person sitting there, okay? They'll go ahead and look on your services and make sure you are who you say you are, then you will come down here, okay, to basically, this is where everybody will be milling around. Coffee, blah, blah, blah. For the first, basically, hour, there's not going to be anything going on.
Is that all you need?
Yeah.
If this is an actual mission base, I'm going to step back and tell you that as a mission pilot only, okay, when you get to a real mission, that you want to go straight to the AOBD and get a flight plan from him, okay, and fill it out with the crew and everything you have and give to him so that you're on top of the stack. Okay, when he starts putting the crews together. This is not for SARX, because SARX, we know who's coming.
Yeah.
This is a mission, an actual mission. You want to go to the AOBD and say, I'm here, I'm going to fly, I've got this equipment, here's my crew. Here's my Form 104. Okay, they should have it out. But anyway, that's for SARX, you're going to be assigned by that. At 8 o'clock, they'll have a briefing. They'll include, well, Mike, what will include?
Weather.
Weather.
In a brief, yeah. You're gonna talk over the flight plan, talk over the mission essentials, talk over the goals, and talk over their comm plan, talk over safety plan.
How many times have they handed out a memo that says this is what's going on today?
Well, they're supposed to do it every mission.
Do they? I don't know. I've never been to a single one where they actually know what's going on. You're gonna get that with us, an agenda, okay?
That brings up the safety.
Yeah.
Because the aircraft are going to be inspected also.
Well, we don't.
Apparently they don't do that anymore, Bob. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, we've had a lot of problems in the past that have been flying without the equipment inside.
Well,
If they don't want it, that's their call.
we'll talk offline. I
That's
don't know.
the incident commander's call.
But
Yeah.
you'll get a sheet, okay, that'll show what your assignment is that day, okay? For the air crew, say sortie 1 at 10 o'clock, it'll be McGee and Scaletta and mission pilot, and I'll say grid. It'll have a communications plan on it. It's gonna have everything on there. There's no note taking here, okay? We're handing that out, all right? It'll be very nice and very organized. There'll be no question on what you're doing. I find that this is the number one thing with people milling is they don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, where do I go next kind of thing, okay? So since all the air crews will be identified previously by our operations sections chief, am I getting that right? Okay, there'll be a whole list of that, okay? And there'll be who do you report to if you're an MSA, okay? And it might be, looks like it might be Mike Swift, I don't know, is that part of what you do, handle MSAs? But anyway, it'll all be outlined.
Does he do the flight release also?
Yeah, typically it's either the AOBD or the op section chief that does the flight release.
So anyway, there'll be a brief, we'll do weather, there'll be a comms plan, we'll introduce all the different section leaders here, and then there'll be a handout that shows what everybody's responsibility is, what the communications plan, what the grid assignments are, what your name, it'll be on there in some way, okay, as an MSA, or whatever your duty here is gonna be, it'll be on there, okay? And then we'll break and we'll start going, you know that the very first thing you gotta do as an air crew, you have a mission pilot there, so you don't be wandering around. The mission pilot's gonna take you to AOBD and get a briefing, okay? You'll sit in the AOBD and you go, all the stuff that we do in the hangar when I'm filling out the brief, and going through all that, that's the stuff that we'll talk about in there. Okay, where are you guys going? What's the grid that you're gonna be searching? How are you gonna attack it? What are the hazards? What are the winds look like? Who's gonna be asking all those questions and creating a risk assessment and all that. After that, you go to the airplane, you flight the airplane, you get in, you fly your sortie, come back, you land. Hopefully the fuel truck will be here to make it easier so that the crew doesn't actually have to stand by there. They can come in and debrief in LBD. That's another thing we need to talk about is maybe some ground support there. Because we don't have any tie downs out here. Technically, we're not allowed really to leave the airplanes sitting without them being tied down, right?
That'd be chalked. I don't know about tied down.
Yeah, you can chalk, if there's no winds, you can chalk them. Yeah.
Ideally, if you could come in and land, get out of the airplane, and walk away and have some ground support there, let them know how much fuel you want in there, tell the fuel guy to come by, and then turn the airplanes that way. Otherwise, you start getting, and I see your cynicism right there, it's not lost on me, but I'm gonna make it happen.
There's a lot of things that have changed since the last time you've done, sorry.
We're just trying to make it simple. I don't want there to be a lineup at the fuel pit and, pilot it out there doing fuel for 30 minutes, and then, well, he was supposed to be being debriefed, and now he can't even, now, okay. So
If your crews are set
we'll
up,
work through all that.
if there's enough of them,
Yeah.
then they can be briefed for the next mission while the other people are still out there. So there's an hour in between, they get briefed, and then they can transition right into the plane when they land, and the others get debriefed. That's the only way you're gonna.
I like that. I mean, you're thinking the way that I'm thinking. Streamline it.
That's
so
the only way that you're gonna
Yeah.
be able to turn them around.
So anyway, you'll probably fly one sortie, no more than that on a day, depending on how many people that we have here. Okay. If you're interested in coming back on Sunday, I guess it just all depends on what the participation is, right, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
So once you're done with your sortie, if let's just say that you didn't have any interest in being an MSA, you can go home. Just want to make sure you sign out of the mission. That's all. So there needs to be a positive control of who's here at all times, so that if something were to happen to you, you know that happened to you here or whatever. You just say anybody have any questions? I talk a lot. 8 o'clock.
I could possibly be there both days, but I don't know if I could be there for the full time. Is it possible to come in for the morning and then leave in the afternoon?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
Right.
8 o'clock. Anybody else? Okay.
I'm gonna kill the stream.
I'm just gonna get a picture of this mic and then you and I'll call.
Well, yeah, we need to talk to